What's up, everybody, and welcome to this very special bonus episode of Jeremiah Wonders. I hope you are having an amazing week. My buddy, Brendan Sagalow, is on the program today. His debut stand-up album is out now. It's called Not Now, More Than Ever. You can find it on all audio platforms. I think you guys are going to dig this episode. He's a New York comic. He's super funny. I made sketches with him. I've done stand-up with him. We talk about it throughout this episode, and we just have a lot of good riffs and good time catching up. This episode is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. Get Sheath Underwear for 20% off with promo code Jeremiah at checkout on your first order. Go do that up. They're supporting the show. Help support them. I love you guys. I hope that you've been enjoying all the extra content that I've been trying to send your way. Keep liking, commenting, and telling people about it. If you're not subscribed or hitting that bell, you're not getting the notifications, do that. All that stuff helps. And keep rating my special high 5-star rating and reviews on Amazon Prime, Jeremiah Watkins Family Reunion. I love you guys. And without further ado, let's get into this episode of Jeremiah Wonders with my pal, Brendan Sagalow.
Let me ask you, did you have a... Oh, you're getting into it? Sorry.
No, I love it. That's more organic. I know I did the big breathe in, but this is way more organic than...
You were getting ready to go.
I did the news anchor thing where I was like, tonight's show, we've got Brendan Sagalow on the show, and no, this will be way more organic. I always prefer organic openings, but it's hard to sometimes do it when it's virtually.
I just felt the blue balls that I just gave you of you getting into your podcast voice. You know what I mean? Because like we just went from like, hey, how you doing, man? Yeah, thanks for having me. And then you're like, and I'm like, you know what I noticed? It's just terrible. I don't even remember. What was I going to say? Oh, let me ask you something. Because you just had an album get released. You went through all of this promotion and all of that. Was there any days or anything where you just kind of had this feeling of numbness and you feel like out of control and I don't know, say bleached your hair or something, or kind of lost your mind in any way?
I think it's a lot because so this is your debut album, right?
Yeah, this is my first album.
Yeah, so it was my first stand-up album that I just put out as well, and I think that there's a certain amount of stress that goes along with that if you're not a comic, it would be hard to really give a good example. It's kind of like showing off something. It's like that first job, showing your parents like, hey, I did this. This is what the college and all the prep and the work that I've been doing all this time. This is what it is. So there's a lot of like build up and somewhat a little bit of fear too. Like, I hope people like this. I hope people are even going to listen to this. That's like a big obstacle. Like, are people even going to be able to consume this at all? So yeah, there's definitely days where you're kind of freaking out, where you're just like, oh man, should I release that? Yeah, no, that's good. Like, no, this is what I set out to do. Like, but like, why am I feeling this way? Like, there's like weird, insecure thoughts that I think all of us as comics kind of go through.
100%. I'm currently riddled with anxiety and filled with this like. You don't know all the stuff that goes behind it of being like, you know, when albums would come out, music, comedy, otherwise, you know, whatever, you just go, oh, look, they put something out. And you, as pedestrians, we go, well, it either makes a lot of money or it makes no money. You don't realize that it's like, oh, fuck, did I put up the Pandora link way too early before the album's released? So now people are going to listen to that and they're not going to buy the or oh my God, is this article saying everything that they can say about me? Or is this pre-order link go to the right place? I'm like, I feel like a fucking CEO of a building that's on fire. That's what it feels like.
It's a lot to put out stuff. And, you know, something that I really admire and like about you and our buddy Mike Feeney is the amount of content and the amount of sketches that you guys put out every single week on Instagram and YouTube. Because me, as someone who has done that for years, it takes so much to do that weekly. I've done spurts in my life where I was doing weekly releases like you guys are doing. And now I've kind of shifted to more weekly clips with like stand-up or something. But I want to get back into doing weekly sketches because when I was out in New York with you guys, I had so much fun
It
shooting
was
those
so much
sketches.
fun. And also, I loved that sketch. Like, you could even see me in the background when we got that fucking door scene where it closes halfway through, like perfectly what I saw on the way there. We were on the way to the train when we were like, oh, this should be the punchline. And then we got it perfectly. If anyone is watching that video, it's the Spider-Man in Queens. You could see me in the mirror of the train jumping up and down and like just like throwing like my Breakfast Club fist in the air, you know what I mean? And that's like, yeah, and like right now with all this bullshit, it's like that's the kind of stuff you live for. That's the stuff that's like, oh, I feel good again for a second, you know?
Yeah, it was Spider-Man. I'm basically a busker that moves to a street performer that moves to Queens in this weird pandemic time, and it was a super fun sketch. And then we shot that comedians lineup, the Comedy Police.
Yeah, that one. People
sketch.
love that one. They love that one.
Yeah, that got really good feedback. Like, yeah.
When we were doing the Spider-Man one, I had suggested to Feeney, I was like, should we go to Queensbridge? Because like we were, you know, I don't know how familiar you are with Queens, but where we were in Astoria was like 10 blocks away from the projects where Nas grew up in. So I was like, should we go to Queensbridge and kind of fuck around with some people that might kill us? You know, like, and
Jeremiah's visiting for a week. This could be good.
I just, you know, you get into that mindset of like the juxtaposition of how nice and friendly you are to these people that might like see you in an outfit going like, nah, man, nah, dude, nah, like see your balls basically right there and be like, nah, I don't know what this is. Hate it.
Yeah, we're not doing this. We're not doing this today.
Yeah, instead of the friendly Astoria Park people that were like, that like took pictures with you and everything.
yeah, they wanted pictures. They wanted me on their social media. Very different response.
Well, I don't know about you, dude, but like, the reason that we just have, like, I have to keep working is like, if I stop for a second, all of these like depressed and anxiety-ridden thoughts just the insecurities just start flooding, dude. Like, sure. I find myself, I'll black out halfway through the day and wake, like, just be on my bed listening to like. I like listening to like, what's that song "Let It Go" by what's his name, where it's like, I fucking wish I could play it. I don't know, but I'll listen to like sad acoustic or like sad rap.
I only know like, Idina Menzel's "Let It Go." I don't know,
but like, you ever listen to like sad rap music where it's like, you know, just like,
you're a big hip hop head, aren't you?
I'm a huge hip hop guy. Like, you know, I'm currently actually just like, this is in, you know, I got to get over the fact that it's embarrassing, but me and my buddy, I have a buddy named Nick Callis. He lived in LA for a little bit. I don't know if you know him, but he is so good at rapping and he knows how much I want to do it. Like, during the pandemic, I bought this, you know?
Oh, snap.
Yeah, dude. So like, I had a full, like, that's what I spent all my pandemic money on. And, he's like, send me something, man. You got to send me something. So I'm kind of working on something, and it's incredibly embarrassing to me, and I have to get over that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a real passion, you gotta put it out there. I mean, dude. For example, I have done music comedy for years and years. I've released a music comedy album with my buddy Pat Reagan, and I've done tons of music videos. I just released a new music video, but I put out one performance that was non-comedy, and you know what? That garnered more talk than...
I remember that was very sweet. That was very sweet.
There you go. but you know, you see that, and then you're like, oh, okay. Well, that could happen if I put out a rap song. That's what goes through your head. But you know what? That was the tip of the iceberg, dude. I've got some more in the pipeline. That get ready,
dude. I am all for it, man. I am all for it. I would be lying if I didn't there wasn't a part of me that went okay, all right, just be aware that the people in our lives are monsters. They're monsters. So if
Brendan showed a side of his true feelings. What a nerd. Oh, he wants to do rap. Oh, what an idiot. It's like, dude, this is one of my passions. I really like it.
I mean, I see myself as an artist, if anything. So, allow myself to.
You're not an artist. You tell dick jokes. Like that's like all we get heckled by our peers, like inside of our heads sometimes. I feel like.
Yes, dude. I was talking to my therapist about this because I recently quit boozing. So I went sober, and I'm 30 whatever days in, and I was talking to my therapist about it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I was like, I don't know how my friends will feel. And I'm not saying in a way that they're going to be like, dude, what the fuck? I'm saying it more in a way like, I think my fear was half of the people are going to be like, oh God, is it a problem? And then if I ever try to go back, people are going to start feeling bad for me. Or the people that are like, oh God, now he's saying he's sober. Dude, how many Instagram posts do you want out of that? You fucking.
I'm worried about Brendan. He quit booze and he started rapping. Things are getting really gray over there.
Dude, I bleached my hair. I just got a tattoo on Friday.
What's your tattoo of?
It's just like a neon flamingo.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. But so I'm telling my therapist that, and he's obviously being very smart and articulate about it.
He's writing things down. He's like, wait, you didn't get a neon flamingo. Whoops.
He's like, uh-oh. He's like, yeah, he reads, he's like, turns out you're gay, apparently. And as I'm a therapist, I'm allowed to tell you that. But so
now here's a medicine for that. Like, what kind of a therapist are you? This is crazy.
He asked to borrow $20.
He's like, let us pray. You're like, where am I?
Let us pray. Yeah. He's like, all hail Ishnu. So I have that fear of telling people and what they think, and then I go, fuck it. Okay, I need this for myself. I have to do it. I tell all my friends. They are completely supportive in every single way possible.
Of course. Yeah.
I was like, I was talking to my buddy, one of my buddies, and I go, yeah, I was just kind of, I was insecure on what you guys would think. And he was like, you were scared that we wouldn't have full support for you? It's like, of course, dude. Like, I don't know why we're so afraid of that shit.
That's what I would like the response to be when we have outside hobbies outside of comedy that we're like, I'm also passionate about this. And like, dude, of course I'd be supportive of you.
Yeah,
of course I'll support you and download your raps, and I will listen to them non-ironically alone. Of course.
Dude, I don't even want anybody to download. I just want this as a hobby. Like, I want to just do it and then like maybe send it to like some friends who are into the same thing. Like, if I sent it to my buddy Nick, he would be like, this is good, and we can have like a back and forth or something.
Right.
He'll send me something and I go, this is great. Like, I don't want to put out an album. I don't want when people look at, like, especially if people look up my name, I want comedy to come up. I'd have to, be like MF Doom and wear like a big mask or something. I'm so afraid of what people will think about it. Because
you're the new like dead mouse like comedian.
Yeah. Rap is embarrassing if you're even slightly bad at it.
Sure.
If you're off by like a rhythm.
That's anything that if you're putting yourself out there. That's why a lot of people work cubicle jobs. They don't put themselves out there because it's scary. Like, I actually do want to put out. I'm in the process like of banking tracks. I've got a couple that I recorded in the studio that it's going to be a non-comedy music album that I'm just going to put out. It probably won't do that well, but I think that the people who like it will really like it. And that's just how I feel about it. I'm like, that'll be like another thing that I'm doing as like a side project next to everything else. I don't know.
100%. And over everything, it itches that scratch that you have. It itches that in the back of your head. It's that curiosity
because, dude, as people who have given up everything to pursue dreams at this point, is like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do some rap? We're already doing the hardest thing, which is comedy, like leaving family behind and pursuing something. And we're in like pandemic times right now. Why not pursue something that is any inkling of a dream in the back of your head. So later on in life, you don't go back and you're like, I wish I would have done this, or I could have, the woulda, coulda, shoulda mentality.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And also, it's, if anything, it's therapeutic mentally. It's like all of these people, there's so many people in the world that have the same kind of dreams that we do and have those itches, and they don't scratch it, and then it grows to be something, and then they take it out on like some sort of 7-Eleven that they walk into. They just fight somebody in there. And and that's at least what I'm trying to do, is what I'm saying with the bed, where I'll find myself just being depressed, listening to sad rap music, and my legs literally go, get out of bed, work on a joke, work on a song. They'll throw me out and they'll go, get up, you gotta move, man.
So what do you consider sad rap? Like what? Like if you have a
Eminem,
sad rap
obviously.
playlist, right?
If we're talking mainstream, I would say like Eminem, Mac Miller, Juice WRLD is very sad rap. But then like there's these underground guys, like some TikTok songs. Like I'm losing all credibility now just saying that, but like there's this guy that what's that? I mean, this song is played to death now, but it's like I get a cup of coffee for your head. You probably heard that on TikTok. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
That's sad rap, dude. That is sad rap. You sit down and you listen to that, like a slow beat that's like
I see what you're saying
talking
now.
about going through a breakup or something. You know?
What is your top 3 or top 5 Eminem songs? I know that's a very hard question.
Wow. I have waited my entire life for this question.
No, you don't have to, and they don't have to be in order. It can be just top 5 ish in any order.
This is gonna be crazy. There's
one
a song.
One of my favorites. One of my favorites is Superman. That's one of my all-time favorite Eminem songs. Another one is actually a track that it's a remix that he did with Lil Wayne and a couple other artists called No Love. Do you know that one?
Love that song. Yeah.
I love that song.
That's on what's that fucking album? That's on an album that everyone hates and I love. It's a
dude. I went on some Eminem deep dives during quarantine, like when I was like running or walking or whatever. He has so many songs, like even covers and remixes of songs that don't get play that are freaking amazing.
Dude, can I give you
his B-sides are so many artists like A-sides.
One of my 2 top songs by in my, what'd you say, 3 or 5? Which one?
3 to 5, somewhere
3
in
to
there.
5. 2 of them are songs that aren't even released on anything. One of them is a song called, this is very early Eminem too, it's called Till Hell Freezes Over, and it's just like a song that it's a B-side song. I don't think it was on any album, and I used to wake up in high school, that was my song that would get me up every day because it just pumps me the fuck up. And then another song that he did while they were making the Marshall Mathers LP is a song called If I Get Locked Up, which is a really good song. That just shows it's just like straight bars, little bit of chorus, straight bars. Yep. But even his like the stuff in 2009 when everybody was hating on him, I loved it. I was delivering pizzas just listening to that.
What'd you think of Music to Be Murdered By?
It was. With any Eminem album now, it's always like, that's good. And then it's like, all right. and then the next song is like, whoa. And then you're like, all right. Godzilla was a great song, and the singles are always good. I was just listening to that song, Nat, because I want to get that little part down. I don't know did you listen to that song? He put out a song called Nat on the newest album, the B-sides, or the second Murder to Music
the second volume, which that didn't garner near as much attention, did it?
No, I mean when he dropped Kamikaze, that was huge because he started getting into this thing. I think that was the first time he just put out there was no promotion. He just went like here, and everybody was like, they lost their fucking minds, and now he just does that, which is like, that dude is just constantly breaking records and also changing the way things are. He's just until the point where it gets boring, where he's just like, all right, yeah. So he puts out Kamikaze, no promotion, no nothing. Everybody loses their shit. Then he does it with Music to Be Murdered By, and everyone's like, okay. And then he did it again with Music to Be Murdered By 2, and everyone's like, yeah. They just expect it.
You just did that. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're grateful, but nothing new here. Yeah. So the bleach hair, is that any Eminem inspiration, or is that just you just want to bleach it?
That's so funny. Is I was just thinking about it, where I go, okay, I've been bleaching my hair since high school because of Eminem. So I did it because of Eminem and whatever, and then I did it yesterday because I'm obviously having a mental breakdown, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, have I been bleaching my hair ever since high school to feel some sort of control in my life? It's always come at a point where I want to feel control, you know? I'm like, I have nothing in control right now, so let me just change the way I look. Because that's something you have a full control over.
I think that's probably the most honest answer that you could have given.
I'm a little honest boy.
No, I like that about you.
I get very sincere on podcasts, dude.
No, I dig it. For sure. We just did a gig together that I felt bad how long the drive was for you guys, but I was so happy that you were able to make it out to Royersford, Pennsylvania.
Soul Joel's, baby. And that was a lot of fun. It was probably one of the coldest gigs that I've done, and if they would not have put out those heat lamps, I would have frozen. Really?
Oh, dude. When I wasn't near a heat lamp, my hands, I just have bad circulation in my hands and feet. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was trying to get any kind of blood flow before I went on stage.
Wow.
And
dude.
Then at one point in my set, I don't know if you remember or not, I had to, while I was riffing, I put my feet right next to the heater because they were getting so cold on stage.
Wow.
That's why I sat down and put my feet next to the heater, like while I was talking to the crowd, was because I was getting so freaking cold.
Do you think that when dentists are getting head, that they talk to the girl while she's So, how's your day?
Wow, that's crazy, because I don't want to sound like a Midwestern kind of like, you know, or whatever, but like I say Midwestern because, you know, when you're like cold and like someone from, you know, Michigan or whatever is like, you think that's cold? You should fucking suck my balls. You know what I mean? I'm like, so I'm going to say something like that, where it's like, that was very warm compared to the shit that we've been doing in New York. Like, I remember it's so hard because, you know, I started going up with like mittens on, and I'm like this, and then all you could see is like, you know, so I'm trying to like
this total South Park character.
Yeah, just Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to make faces with this little hole and like show people with my eyes what I'm trying to say. And then after a while, you're just like, okay, I'm only up there for 10 to 15 minutes. I got to take everything, unzip, you know, be like, hi, or, you know, but it's freezing, dude.
Yeah.
Some of these gigs now are so cold.
Yeah. I have lost all of my Kansas warm blood. I just literally, I'm such a pansy of the guy who I was from the past. I used to wash cars year round outside in Kansas.
Wow.
And I remember multiple times where I would look at the bank clock across the street, and it'd be between 17 degrees and 30 degrees while we were washing cars. And then that's not even factoring like wind chill or anything like that.
Yeah.
Woo!
And that's like warm too. If you see 30 degrees sometimes, you're like, oh, good day.
I know. But now I see it and I'm like,
yeah. And like with that gig, the drive, maybe normally on another, I also just like seeing you. But now it's like any gig that you can get, you got to get. Any money that we can get, we got to take. And it was like, you know, Jordan's really funny. Jordan Jensen, who...
She was great, which I hadn't had a chance to really really watched like a set from her. Like I was familiar with her, but I hadn't seen like her do a full set, and she killed, dude. It was great.
Yeah. And for, because we missed an exit out of fucking nowhere, a 40-minute exit. It's like that's where the road stuff is like, Jesus Christ, you miss an exit and then you see on your little GPS it go from 7 minutes to 40 minutes. You're like, oh my God. So we had to park. She's also feeling terrible. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I let this happen. We missed an exit. I'm so sorry. She's like profusely apologizing to me. I'm profusely apologizing to you and Joel. So we're all just like, and
they keep looking at me. They're like, what do you want to do, Jeremiah? I'm like, frick. They're like, because it's at a weird point in the show where if we don't start soon, there's a lot of things to factor in. There's an audience that's outside that their energy is only going to be drained as the night goes on because it's freaking cold outside. Even though they have the heat lamps, you can only put an audience through so much. They're like, they asked me at one point, they're like, do we need to cut their sets? I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, oh, I'm like, we can't do that.
I'm sure we were cut by like 5 minutes, which is like completely understandable, both of us. I was like, it was like 10 minutes. I'm sure this was a 15-minute set, but I was like, of course, like I don't care about that at all. And for her to like, so we have to park, she has to run out and immediately go on stage is like, especially for, Joel has never seen her, and she probably wants to work that area, would you call it a club? That club. So it's like her nerves are probably up. She's also feeling terrible. So I think she did a great job just with all of that.
You guys both killed it. It was great.
Yeah, it was really fun,
It ended up
man.
being an awesome show. It was that was my last show of 2020, and I was glad I ended it like that. I was like, this was a good time. The only thing that I was like, I told you later on that night, I was like, man, the only thing that sucks about this is like we couldn't hang because it was so cold and it's also COVID times. It's like, we can't go hang somewhere.
No.
Like it's just not the time to do it. And I was like, I wanted to see Brendan longer.
I know. And we were just like we just, we come all that way. It's like a 2-hour drive. So we watched your set. I was like, I want to watch Jeremiah. So we hung out and then you get to a certain point and you're like, all right, back home it is.
I know, yeah. Headed on back now.
Yeah, but I was telling Jordan in the car, I was like, there was a bit that you were doing that I was like, holy shit, this is when you were talking about your wife's pregnancy and that whole bit of like when you knew you got her pregnant and everything, I was like, that is so. Like, I was like, this is so interesting. I can just watch this. You didn't even have to have jokes in it, but you did. And I was like, I could just watch this. I could watch this guy talk about this. It was very interesting. I thought it was incredibly.
Thanks, man. That's what I'm shaping up right now for the next hour that I'm working on. That's like going to be a big piece of the hour. I've been running that bit on the road because I'm still touring a little bit on the weekends, and I've been like chipping away at that bit for a couple months now, and like I'm real excited about that. Yeah.
Wow, I thought that was on the album. I was like, holy shit, this is
that'll be on the next one. Yeah. That's a new bit. Everything that I did at that show was stuff that wasn't on the album. Like I've tried to not repeat any jokes from that album. The only thing that I am gonna do, which I don't know, like, are you? With your album that came out, will you, if you record a special, when you record a special down the line, will you do some of those jokes on that special, or are you retiring those jokes?
No, I have to retire the jokes just because, I just personally, I don't like that. I know that comics got to do it sometimes, but I've seen specials of comics that I completely, really respect. And I'm like, oh, that's on their first album. I'm like, a lot of this is from their first album, or something like that. So for me, it's gotta be. I just want to work on something new. I can't. I'm doing some jokes that are on the album, and
what's the name of the album, and where can people find it, Brendan?
It's called "Not Now, More Than Ever," and they can get it anywhere. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. If this comes out after the 22nd, which I guess we're talking in the future now, right? If you put it out after the 22nd, they can get it on Spotify, they can get it on iTunes, you can get it on anywhere that you can get any type of music or comedy albums.
I love it. This should be out on the 22nd. So there you go.
Oh, so you can get it today. That's
Hello.
exciting.
Ooh,
that is exciting.
Did Jeremiah plan this perfectly? I think he did.
But yeah, dude, like I'm doing a joke that I did on the album, and it's just getting better, and it's making me hate myself because I'm going like, oh, this is so much better than it was on the album. So I have to stop doing this.
There's something that I put in my special that I found a callback for after the special was released, and I won't be able to, it's just done. I have to part ways with it, but as a comic, it's real tough. It's tough because you're
so hard.
Frick.
Dude. It's so hard. I did a Zoom show the other day.
All right, we get it, dude. You're booked around New York, all right? We get it. You're shoving this down my LA throat right now. You do Zoom shows, all right?
Yeah, it was for a guy named Jerry Seinfeld. You ever hear of him? We're buddies. Anyway, so I did a Zoom show, and I did like the set perfectly. It was so tight, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even do it this tight on the album. I was like, God damn it, and I was doing a bunch of the jokes from the album because I was like, a Zoom show.
Might as well do it one more time, before it's released. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, why not? And it's just like, that's why I have to part ways with the jokes, because if I'm doing them and they get better, yeah, that feels good, but I'll hate myself. You know what I mean? I'll re-record.
I've got a couple jokes that I put like as bonus tracks that I didn't put on my special, that are some extra ones that I might end up shooting down the line for a special because they're very visual jokes that I'm like, I want people to see a couple of these jokes that I've been doing like for a long time, but I'm like, they're so silly that I'm like, I might do that on a special in the future.
Dude, you know what album I listen to all the time just because I love it? Harmful If Swallowed by Dane Cook. That first album. You ever listen to that?
Absolutely. I mean, when that dropped, man.
Woo!
I mean, I remember, it sounds so silly. I remember when I got introduced to that album. I literally was like, who is this guy? Like what?
Dude,
like how? Where did this guy come from? My mind was blown because I was like, because I had never heard. I wasn't a stand-up student by any means. I had only seen clips and stuff. I hadn't seen full specials really until after that CD came out. I went more into exploring because I always had way more knowledge on the sketch side of things.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't even know stand-up could be like that. I thought that you had to, stand-up comedy was a dude behind a mic stand and a more traditional New York style where it's set up, punch, just like that. And I was like, this guy's doing weird voice. This guy's, he's using weird inflections on words. Like, dude, I loved it. Like, I
say
loved
what
it.
you want about that guy, but he has affected the stand-up genre. Like, people are doing him. I do him sometimes. It's, he has affected the way people do jokes in the same way that Louis has, in the same way that Attell has,
dude, when
maybe
Louis was
say
in his
another,
prime,
not a white guy, Chappelle.
Right. I mean, you see those carbon copies at open mics right after like some of those like Louis specials or Burr specials would drop. You'd see a guy like leaning on the mic stand and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you aware you're like, doing exactly what Burr's doing?
Yeah, dude, I feel like maybe we're talking too much about stand up, but just the Harmful If Swallowed, like that was the only album that was in my car, in my high school car and stuff, and throughout like the first 5 or 6 or 8 years that I was doing stand up. So if I bombed and I had to drive back to Long Island, I would just listen to that, because sometimes you forget. Sometimes you're like, why the fuck am I putting myself through this shit? And then you just listen to someone who is having so much fun. I mean, that album is, that guy,
it's just fun, dude.
Having
it's
so much fun.
Yeah.
And to cap it off, you could see his act outs in his words, which is like,
he paints very good pictures.
He paints a great picture.
So, your album recording, how much fun did you have versus how stressed out were you?
So the first show, I did 2 shows. The first show, I had almost no fun. I was not having the set that I wanted. It wasn't that good. Most of the album is from the second set. So I was like, and I was like bombing. It wasn't, and when I bomb, I become a heel. So I'm like turning heel on this like big night where everyone's like here
There
for me
to support you.
Yeah, so I'm like, you fucking idiots. So I'm like, okay, let me get a little let me do some crowd work. The crowd work feels weird. I started doing crowd work with this chick in the front row, and she's feeling uncomfortable. I couldn't have chose a worse person to do crowd work with, because when you're like doing crowd work with someone and their energy is so much like, do not talk to me. I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
This sucks. And you kind of want to be like, you want to point out, you want to go, I'm not going to make fun of you. You're in a safe space. You try to like build this world of talk to me, give me something. And they're just staring at you. So it was all that. The first set was awful. And then I put a couple of down, and everybody was coming up to me going like, that was so good. That was good. You got it, dude. You got it. And, they're all being supportive, but we know. We know at the end. We know at the end of the day, like whether that was the take or that was the one. It's that gut feeling. Like you walk off stage, right away. Exactly.
Sometimes at the very beginning of the show, and then you're like, I hope I don't mess this up because this is going pretty freaking well right now.
Yeah, you're literally riding a wave. You're like, dude. You get that first wave, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like this is. I have to do this for 45 minutes.
Yeah,
to an hour.
I had this embarrassing moment just because I'm just not doing stand up as much recently, and this is all internal monologue. Where I did a weekend in Fort Worth, Texas, where I literally looked around the room like after I said a joke, and in my head I go, I am killing right now. And I almost forgot my next joke because I was like celebrating the moment, just because I was so excited to be doing stand-up like on the road and like in front of real crowds and stuff like that.
Totally.
And then I was like, oh, dude, you have a job. Get back to,
Yeah.
get back
it
to
also it. Just, you're just being present. If we're going to see the silver lining in forgetting the joke, you're being incredibly present in that moment where you're going like, look at this. If I forget the joke, that's just because I'm having such a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, also you have to remember the next joke.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than being like, when you're like trying to think of the joke and the laughs are, so we only have a
very small window,
finite amount of time before the laughs start going like, and you have to go, yeah, so because it's like music, and there's nothing worse than when that laugh becomes silence and you're just like,
yeah, the
and
needle,
then you say a joke that you wrote.
The needle's picked up off the vinyl.
Yes.
Like you're like, yeah.
But the second show, so I started putting some down, and more positive energy started coming into the
positive energy.
Positive.
Yes. Now, were you
That was a good
familiar? Did you
impression.
get to see any Brody Stevens clips or anything when he was?
No, after he passed, I started watching his stuff on YouTube, and which happens, like you.
Yeah, of course.
That's
I
always
mean, if you guys had a New York staple guy, it'd be the same way for me, where I'd be like, oh, I need to look up this dude.
Yeah, well, for sure, Mark Norman's going to die this year, so you can.
Brendan, why would you say that? Come on, comedy.
Death, comedy.
Guys, I'm rolling over in my queef right now.
Yeah, I can't even think of something. I'm laughing so hard at what you just did. I can't even think of something. But yeah, so the positive energy from the people that came, I was like, I love you. This is good. All my friends were like really just having a good time, and then I just started putting some back, and the second show was just, it sucks that it's like, oh, if I'm hammered, it's kind of a better show, because I never want to be like that. But
yeah, but I mean, I'm guessing, it's more of a routine at that point where that was something that that loosens you up. Mm-hmm. So now that you're not drinking, you just have to figure out a different routine that gets you in that same zone where you're loose. For me, somebody who doesn't drink, I have different routines that I do that gets me in the right mindset and I'm able to reset between shows where you're like, why was I so tight that show?
Yeah.
And what can I do to be loose and be more like me, where I'm having as much fun as I can be on stage? And one of them is simple, like they're like little monikers or little things I say to myself, or little reminders where I'm like, dude, just have as much fun as you can. Like, be silly.
100%,
be
dude.
silly. Don't take yourself seriously. You're here to have fun. If you have fun, the audience will have fun.
Boom. That's something that someone told me when I was like 2 years in. And if there's anything that I stick with for like that's it. Where it's like, if you look like you're having fun, everyone's gonna have fun. And if you are having fun, even if the crowd is terrible, you walk away going like, I had fun. That was a good set.
Oh, dude, I have had some bombs where I was laughing at the crowd because I'm like, at least I'm having a good time, you idiots.
Yeah. And you don't want to be like, fuck you guys. Like, that's always such a shitty way to go at it, to be like,
yeah.
Ugh, but if you're laughing through it, you're like, this is ridiculous. What are
bad
we doing?
audiences where if they're really not getting it, most of the time I find that they are an unexperienced crowd. That's usually what it tends to be. They're not a bad crowd. They have zero experience with stand-up comedy. They're literally like, oh, I didn't know that I was allowed to like laugh as loud as I want. It's weird that people don't know how to watch comedy. You think it'd be second nature because you've seen it so much in movies and TV shows, but there's a lot of people who they're like, that was my first stand-up show, and I loved it. And I'm like, you guys were silent the entire time. They're like, it was amazing. I'm like,
yeah,
all right.
because they just see themselves in the chairs. They feel themselves. They're not letting the energy they're not becoming one. So they're just sitting there and going, oh, look, here I am at a table, at a chair. This man is here. I hope he murders, because if he doesn't, I'll feel weird.
Yeah.
Everybody's just like, they come at it with this, like, if this happens, I'll hate it. If this happens, I'll hate it. I hope I don't feel like this. This is very strange. I hope he doesn't talk to me. I hope he doesn't come out into the crowd like the Hoop-Dee-Doo review at Disney World or something. It's like, I get it. So I also am kind of like, I give that, unless they're talking and they don't shut the fuck up, because I'll give them a couple, like, hey guys, hey,
I give a couple lifelines, but then
other than that, I'm very generous with my empathy towards a crowd. I'm always like, all right.
Did you
whatever.
record this album at New York Comedy Club, or where did you record it at?
I recorded it on a roof by the Flatiron.
Okay, so you recorded this year.
Yeah, I recorded it in February. No, not February. September. I recorded it in September.
How were the outdoor elements when you were like mixing the album and stuff like that? Because you're high up enough? Was it fine?
Weird, dude. It's weird. I recorded. So New York Comedy Club, they were having pop-ups at that roof.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It sits like a really good amount of people, and there were walls, but it went up, so like there was no roof or anything, so it sounds great, and it is bouncing off of shit, but you could also hear like a little bit, and you could hear
I honestly, I don't mind, because I do podcasts, I do these roadcasts in the car. It's just ambient noise. It's noises that we're used to hearing anyway, so it's never anything that's like alarming. It's just like, oh, this is just like I'm outside. That's as simple as it is.
And I was fully prepared for an ambulance to go by. I was fully prepared for whatever. You can hear cars.
Guys, it looks like I'm killing too much. The ambulance is here. Come on.
Well, I love a Mark Norman impression. It's so funny to me. Yeah. Looks like the fatties are here.
Any fatties here? Me?
Yeah, I'm gay. So fucking funny, man. That'll never not make me laugh. But yeah, so like you can hear cars and shit down below on the street. You're like, you hear shit like that, But I thought that was super cool. It's, to me, I talk about the pandemic in it. It is just a moment in time. That's how I looked at it. This is a moment in time from this night during the summer in the middle of this fucking thing.
I love it.
So, it's like, I don't know, like, you know what I really always loved? You ever listen to, God, we're becoming some real fucking comedy dildos right now talking about this shit. But in Bill Burr's first album,
Okay.
I'm going to blow my brains out. In Bill Burr's first album, you can hear like the receipt papers being printed.
Yeah, I like that stuff, dude.
Me too.
I love that stuff.
You feel like you're there. That's why I love albums.
Dude, in my special, there's a moment where I mention glasses shaking. Magic moment happened where a waitress is walking by and you hear glasses shaking.
Whoa.
I got crazy lucky. And it's like a big pause that I take too, where I'm talking about glasses shaking, like, because that's like me like acting out with my hand, and then you hear glasses shaking. It's very weird.
Whoa. Did you mention it at the time, or when you were listening back, you're like...
It was a big act out where I was like, I wish I could address that happening, but like I got to plow through.
Wow.
It was just a moment like where you watch it and you're like, that's so weird. Like, that's so weird that the waitress is like... The glasses are shaking there.
Oh my God, that's so funny. If like, imagine you're just putting sound effects in your album for
Foley and different stuff like that.
Slide whistle. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Whoa. You have a soundboard?
Yeah. I use it sometimes.
Don't get insecure about it.
I'm not getting insecure about it. You're getting insecure about it.
Whoa, this is like the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. Were you a big Blink guy?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you were.
I love Blink, dude.
You got Blink-182 energy.
Oh,
Me too.
really?
I'm not saying that in a bad way.
You've got Offspring energy right now, dude.
Because of the hair?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, that was like, I always thought about that album, the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. Like, did they have a thing, like a devil? Did they edit that in post?
Probably. I don't think any of them, can manipulate their vocal cords that well.
Well, you never know. Tom DeLonge is wherever he's from.
If his vocal range could go from here to all the way
Down here.
that's pretty impressive.
Dude, I was watching some like newer Blink-182 stuff, like before Matt Skiba joined the band or whatever, like replaced Tom. And I was like, what is Tom DeLonge doing? You know what I mean? Like, not to shit on the guy, but like he went from like his voice was fucking cool, and then he just went to a point where he wasn't even saying words. You know what I mean? Like he would go like, don't waste your time on me. And it's like, oh, I know what you're saying at least. And then in the later stuff, he's like, yeah.
Because I think that he was just trying to change things up down the road, because he has such a unique voice that I think he was almost trying to change his vocal patterns and stuff like that. But I don't know.
I get it.
Trying to reinvent yourself.
Yeah. Artists do it all the time, and people freak the fuck out. But it's like, you can't be doing that for 25 years.
Dude, it's that classic Bob Dylan from Acoustic to Electric story, dude.
Hell yeah, bro.
Let's get into this next segment. It's called Fanning Out.
Fanning out. Questions from fans.
Now, I reached out to people on the internet, and I got some questions for yo behind, Brendan.
Oh, man, that was that filled me with a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Just because, you make the mistake of looking at the questions and they're always like, why are you gay? It's always like, Jesus Christ, come on. It's so funny. I was going to point this out to you. On the east side, so there's this, I don't know if you watch Barstool Sports or anything like that. There's this guy,
yeah.
They're on KFC's friend Fiedelberg. I did their show and everyone's like, he looks just like you. And then on the west side, everybody's like, is that fat Nick Swartzen? So it's like, I can never be just me.
Just me.
I can never just be a person.
I'm always a version of somebody else.
I'm always fatter. Insert. It doesn't even matter. Fatter person.
This question comes from a mutual friend of ours, Rosebud Baker. I want to know why Brendan's stages of bombing goes as follows. 1, doubles down. 1B, triples down, parentheses, makes it worse.
Yeah.
2, apologizes. 3, tells audience they stink. 4, threatens suicide.
I mean, if I have to explain myself, then if you don't understand how that could be the trajectory of a bomb, you say a bad joke and you go, and then you're like, I'm going to push this a little bit more. I turn heel, so I'll say something, and then I'm like, right? Like, come, right? Try to get any sort of reaction, right? Coming, or, baby's dying. What's going to get something from you? Come on. And then I triple down, and then I go, oh, no, I guess I'm wrong. You're right. I'm sorry. Just be a little bit more present and be like, okay, my bad. Sorry about this. And then whatever that last part was, threaten to kill myself. Yeah, that all happens, by the way, in
15 seconds?
15 seconds. Yeah, I go, I'll say like, and then my kids, blah, blah, blah. Because I put cum on their face when I was fucking them in the ass. You guys suck. Fuck, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to kill myself. That all happens in 5 seconds.
That's good.
Yeah, well,
I dig it.
Well, hopefully she got her answer.
I think so. This one comes from you. I mean, you've talked about this so much. I don't think that my listeners know much about this. You can briefly tell the story. This one comes from @pnord87. Have you since bumped Amy Schumer?
Yeah, I've talked ad nauseum about this, but it's fine. It's something in my life. But I do hear her name at least once a week. It's
Still?
pretty crazy, dude. Yeah, still, man.
Still from that one incident.
Still. Someone even came up to me recently and said something about it, and I was with another comic, and they looked at me and they went, that was you? Like, there's people that know that story and have no idea it's even me, which is fine. I'm kind of hoping for it.
Right.
It's such a weird fucking time. I've run into Amy. We've seen each other at the Comedy Cellar, and we're very polite. We're very.
Does she remember you?
I'm sure I left a dent in her memory for sure, because when this whole thing happened. Now I'll tell you what I should have done was, I was a younger comic. This was about 3 years ago, and this thing happened, and
the thing that he's referring to for the people who are watching and listening. Cliff Notes version of the story. You had a show at one of the clubs in New York, and Schumer essentially bumped you, and it was you were closing out the show.
So here's why it's important to make the distinction of what kind of show it was.
Yes,
was if she bumped me for a showcase spot or whatever, I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, wow, that's fucking cool. I get it. We're comics. I understand. There is a pecking order here, especially me. At that time. So what made this particular show made it a little bit more confusing was it was essentially a gigantic bringer for your friends and family. So you do the bringers first year, second year, whatever. But then there's a certain point that all comics in New York have to go through. You don't have to, but it's kind of a rite of passage if you want to be a fucking dildo about it. But there's this thing called the breakout artist at Caroline's Comedy Club, and it's kind of a big deal. You try to you try to sell it out. You go, I'm doing the breakout artist. You get a fucking poster, which I'm sure they set on fire after that. They don't want any trace of that because they're more on her side than my side for sure. Even though they're great people. Again, I get it. It's showbiz. I understand. So I'm doing the breakout artist, and Amy had followed me on Instagram. We kind of got to know each other a little bit. We didn't ever meet or anything, but she was becoming a fan of some of my impressions. I do a Colleen Quinn, so I'm like, I did this thing like a couple years ago called Colleen Quinn, which was if Colleen Quinn was a woman, where it's like, I went to go get I went bra shopping the other day, and I got a size double D. I'm a size A, but I figured I want to put some candy and stuff in there. So that was like a character I was doing. It doesn't really sound anything like him, but it's whatever. So she became a fan of that, and then I guess she was running her SNL monologue, and she asked to do time. Now, what makes it even more crazier, a little bit more ruder, I'd say. I don't want to bring up old shit. I'm sick of talking about this.
Right. I'm sure yeah.
But I am trying to set. Maybe this could give me a little bit of what's that called? Starts with a C. Come on.
Cred?
No. Yeah, I'll never get that. No. Whatever. Whatever.
Closure,
right? So I'm on stage. I'm about 10 minutes into my act.
And how long are you scheduled to do that night?
45.
Okay.
45 minutes.
So you are the headliner that night. That is.
I'm the headliner, baby.
Okay.
It's
All
but also, and this doesn't mean shit, but just for my own sake, just to throw it out there, I wasn't very good. Okay, this was the first time I'm headlining. I was 10 minutes in. I'm already sweating. You know, I think I was always, my first times headlining, I was always like, how far along into the set can I get before my brain starts leaking? You know what I mean? Before I just start really sweating.
Yeah.
So I'm 10 minutes in. I'm sweating. I'm doing crowd work. I'm not even into my material yet. And she just screams to me and, you know, can I come up? And it was huge. It was a great moment. Everybody was like, whoa, wow, okay. Ooh. And I was like, sure, ruin the show. I even got a little dig at her, you know? And then, I don't know, just it got pretty crazy after that. And I got kind of crazy with the PR. What I should have done was I should have just fucking stepped back. I should have been like, I'm not going to talk about this. It happened in my life, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'll just mark it up here. Just remember, maybe try to get something out of her. You know what I mean? Something. Become a little bit, but I went on a PR, I went on everything, and I just talked about it. So, I can understand if she saw that and was like, what the fuck? But also, what she did was fucking rude. But I could also understand that she's like, Jesus, this guy's trying to ruin me, which is not what I was trying to do at all. I was just trying to talk about my experience and maybe get on some podcasts and stuff from it.
You're like, I'm trying to get some bookends out of this.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
incident.
I'm starving here. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So to answer the question, I have never bumped her. No, but I've had plenty of family members tell me that I should have on SNL that week. They're like, what you should do, tell her to do this, is when she's doing a monologue, right? You bump her. Everybody will get it. I'm like, no one will get that. No one will understand. What are you talking about?
That would be epic, though. I mean, from a family's point of view, I mean, hilarious. It's funny that we were talking about so much about rap. Nift_T_biscuit on Twitter. Lukewarms ask, which of the two of you would make the better white rapper?
I don't know.
They're fishing,
this is hard.
Dude. They're fishing. They're
trying
wanting you to put out some tracks, bro.
They're trying to get us to fucking battle each other.
Oh, snap.
I don't know. I think. Do you rap at all? Do you have any skills?
I have music improv skills, which are very different from rap skills. So you would eat my lunch.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I love that. It's easier to rap than it is to be funny, I think. You know? Because you can just say things. It's easier to rap than it is to be a comic, I'm saying, I think.
Ooh, interesting. Probably.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyone who says that.
It's hard to say. It really is hard to say whether or not. Yeah.
I'm probably wrong about that, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Huh?
Huh? I'm probably wrong. I don't want anybody to think I think that you know, it's not easy to, you know, it's probably like it is easier to rhyme, I guess. Like you could be like a cat in a hat and a shoobity doo, you know, than it is to actually say something and be funny about it. But to actually make a song that flows well, that's catchy, that doesn't sound the same the entire way through, that's fucking hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm working on making some songs and stuff right now that are, you know, catchy and not too repetitive, and it is an art for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This one comes from Instagram. Maybe this is an inside joke. Sherper Fuzz asks, how exactly does Positrack on a Plymouth work? Please ask him this. It'll be funny.
I have zero clue what that means.
Okay, well, they were just asking you a car question then. Then it wasn't an inside joke at all. There you go. Sometimes they're straight down the plate and there's no curve at all. It's just exactly what I thought that it was definitely not. Susie_Brockway on Instagram. How do you keep your complexion so dewy?
Mine? I wash my face every night, baby. I put cream on.
What kind of creams you working with, bro?
I use CeraVe. CeraVe is my shit. It's right over there. It's my whole nightstand is just covered in anti-itch, anti-eczema, just cream. So I'm slobbing it on myself every night. because I have such dry skin. So there you go.
Cerna Style asks, he doesn't take compliments well. Why is he so salty to fans?
I do not understand that. That dude, I know that dude. He's a good fan, but there's these guys, and you ever realize this with some people, some comedy fans, they don't let up on the busting your balls. And you just go like, hey man, we don't know each other. Okay. I get mad when my friends make fun of me sometimes. Like, you catch me on the wrong day, I will like, I've flipped out on my buddies Mike Cannon and Mike Feeney all the time, just going like, today is not the day, okay? I'm having mental issues right now. I'm having problems, please. But then on the other side of that is I will get a call from Mike, and they're like, hey man, you want to talk about it? And stuff like that. Actual friend stuff. So then there's some people that just listen to you on a podcast and they're like, oh wow, I know you. And also I'm at a point in my career where I answer these people. We're so unknown. Well, I'm so unknown that like I see your messages. Okay? Like I see them. So if you're hurting my feelings and I don't know you, you're out. You're out.
I mean,
I'm not gonna like you.
I've been blocking people lately. It feels real good.
It feels fantastic.
I used to not. I don't know. I used to just put up with it, and I'm just like, why? There's no point. You're coming to my page. This is my home. If you don't like it, you're not invited. Simple enough.
You have one chance. You have one chance. Sometimes maybe two. If you're like. Because I'll get some messages that are like, oh man, wow, how many chins do you have today or whatever, and I just go like, okay, fuck you, and then they're like, hey man, I'm sorry, I was going through something as well, and I thought that would be funny. I didn't think that would actually hurt your feelings. People think because we're comics, our feelings don't get hurt, or that we can't take a joke.
We're honestly more sensitive than a lot of people.
We're so sensitive. And also, I think about this a lot when people are like, wow, for a comic, you can't take a joke. And it's like, no, I can take a joke. You're not funny. Okay?
That happens for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens all the time. So if you're like, hey, man, and then just come at me with, I'm huge on positive energy. If you are someone in my life that has shitty energy, you're out. You are out. And if I don't know you, you're fucking out of here. And if I don't know you, why would I even waste my time trying to convince myself to keep you in my life? So, suck my balls.
Whoa, there it is, dude.
That's where the salty.
His balls, baby.
That's where the saltiness comes from. And I'm just trying to live my life.
Trying to get by, baby. Just trying to get by.
Be zen here, man. I don't even want to feel. I want to feel anger and go.
I'm all about positive energy. If you come at me again, I swear. Listen up, pal. I'm all about that positive zen life. You can suck my dick. But really, what I want to make sure that you know is I'm all about positivity and making sure that you can suck my ass, buddy. That I love everybody and that I want you to know that I'm a positive guy inherently.
That's great. But yeah, so suck my fucking balls, all right?
Brendan, we've reached a special moment in the podcast. I gave you a little preface to this before we started. Okay. It's a listener favorite. It's called Sax Talk. Oh, Sax Talk.
So, me and my girlfriend, we were kind of on the rocks a little bit, and we were like, let's take a little trip. I was playing the Punchline in Philadelphia, so I love that it comes in after the Punchline in Philadelphia, and we were staying at this hotel called Philly Pods or something. It's called, where it's more of a pod than it is a hotel, and. Actually, we even had sex in like 4 weeks at this point. So it was building. Everything was building up. And then she says to me, let's take a shower together. And is there anything, and I'm getting a boner now just talking about this, but is there anything sexier or like more, it's just like something that works for me is when a wet body is touching my erection. So there was more blood in my penis than there was in my legs at this point. And this was incredibly hot. So we're doing it in the shower, right? And she said, let's take this to the bed. And anyone who has had like shower sex and had to go to the bed, it's less sexy than you think, because after you're drying yourself, you're not going straight to the bed all wet. We're like putting on towels and and washing, and like she's taking care of her hair because of whatever reason. Now she was easily distracted. She's just washing her body and drying it, and she's like checking her phone, and I am standing there, and my dick was touching the door at this point. It was filled in the room. It was like, you ever see Aladdin when Jafar goes, I'll show you how snake-like I can be, and then he wraps Aladdin, and that's what my dick was doing to the whole room. It just felt like you had to like step through my penis to get to the bed. And then I finally get on the bed. I lay on my back. I'm waiting for her. I'm at full mass right now, just touching the floor above me's room. And we finally did it. And I'm not going to do your thing in the act, but it was just like that, in the sense where my eyes were like bulging. Those like glasses where the eyes come out on a spring? That's what my face was doing. It was just full on coming. I mean, thank God I was wearing a condom, because I would have, she would be dead. It would have shot right through her skull, and we wouldn't have gotten the deposit back on the hotel room. And that's the most I've ever come. I hope that was good.
That was sexy as hell.
Jeremiah, you make me laugh so much, man.
The eyes was the descriptor that I like, because I used to get those bouncy eye things in grade school all the time, or like when you go to Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. I'm like, I want that. Those are silly.
Yeah, they come out. They're fun. You can go like that, and they'll be eyes again for 1 second. Dude, I might have to like bust one out after this now. That just put me back in there.
Like jizz or glasses?
Both. Dude.
You're just coming while you have the actual glasses.
Dude, that will really bring me back. I might have to get those.
All right, hop in the shower. Find this girl, put on those glasses, go to town, and then we'll do a part 2.
Film it, send it right to you.
Send it to me, dude. We'll put it in the YouTube video. I'll censor it and stuff like that. It'll be fun.
Content.
Dude, thank you so much for doing the pod. We'll mention your album one more time and where people can find you on the socials and whatnots.
Buddy, thank you so much for having me, man. This really means a lot to me. It's not now more than ever. You can get it on everything. You could check out I'll be promoting it like crazy to probably annoying amount. I will be promoting it on Instagram at Brendan Sagalow, and check out my podcast Garbage Days, and my Patreon podcast What's the Scenario. You can get it at patreon.com/scenariopod. So
heck yes,
that's it, baby.
Yes. And if you guys are on Spotify and all that stuff, while you're there, download his album.
Yeah.
My album's on there as well. Jeremiah Watkins Family Reunion. It's on Amazon Prime, all that stuff. And dude, thank you so much for being a guest, and I hope that we get to make some sketches soon and send my love to Feeney and Cannon and all the crew.
Yeah, I will, dude. It's an honor being your friend.
Ah, you're so sweet. It's an honor being your friend, my
there's
brother.
that positive energy that I fucking talk about.
Listen, then I started punching this dude in the face because he wasn't positive back to me. That's what I live. That's how I live my life.
I fucking,
Positivity only, you douche.
Yeah, you fucking queef. All right, buddy. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for doing it.
Later.